Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. MyNextHomeFinder.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm David Yak here. You're listening to Yak About Today. I'm here with my co-host, Susan Kellehorn.
Hey, hi, how are you, everybody?
So I'm not going to continue the normal opening as I've learned, because we're on video, but I would tell you to either watch or get up, put your headphones on, and go for a run, because now you're listening to Yak About Today. So before we get to our guest, let's just talk a little about the film festival, Susan.
So we are open for ticket sales. We have lots of passes on sale. You can find them at vbfilmfest.org. We have passes that range from four films for the whole weekend, which is $55, all the way up to $575, which includes dinners, parties, fun, doing everything you can possibly imagine, and you will not be stopping for an entire weekend. And there's ticket prices in between as well. So you will have a great time, and we hope to see you at the festival.
So, anyway, I'm looking forward to one thing. The 80s party. You know, we're doing... Sorry, my watch is actually ringing. I don't know what that...
You got to turn your watch off, David.
I actually shut off the phone, and now the watch is ringing. I can't keep up with it.
I think we need to throw it out of the studio.
I know. I'm sorry to everybody. It's sort of a first. We're just learning the whole video thing. Anyway, I was going to say we've got a great 80s documentary about a DJ coming up on Saturday, and we're going to throw a great 80s party after it. So I'm really excited about that.
It's going to be so much fun, and we actually have Scott Shannon, the person who, it's the DJ that this story is about, and he's a New York DJ. He's actually a DJ all over the place, and he will be here as well. So we're super excited about that party.
All right, so let's get into our films. We have a great filmmaker, beginning filmmaker, I think. His name is Carsen Jessell, and he's got a film called Into the Flames about EMTs and firefighters. So are you connected? Are you connected to firefighters? Do you come out of a firefighter family?
I do. Yeah, so my dad's a firefighter, so I grew up in a firefighter household. You know, I've always had that close to my heart. First responders have always meant a lot to me. I was a volunteer for 2 years before I ended up in film school, so it had always been something that I was passionate about, and probably what I would be doing if were it not for the film industry. So it was good. I'm happy to be here.
So you actually made this film while you were a student at FSU. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we were in the heart of our doc cycle, and they were like, you can go anywhere in the country, do whatever you want. And here I am, a broke college kid. I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I decided, do what you know. And I knew I wanted to do something on the fire department, and I knew I was going to be able to go home and have that opportunity, get a little more insight than you're usually able to, because, first responders, that's a hard thing to film and get the approval to go and film all of these people. So I knew that I wanted that to be my topic, but I wasn't sure what was going to drive that topic. Unfortunately, that month while doing it, a firefighter ended up committing suicide, and that really got me thinking about post-traumatic stress disorder and how that affects them. In the last few years, thankfully, things like that have really started to be more on the spotlight and impactful, more for the military and things like that. But it's not talked a lot about for first responders, where it's just as important. So I knew I wanted to go home and do it on that. And it was a really eye-opening experience for me.
I once talked to somebody who was the son of a cop in New York City. And the question I asked them is, do you live in fear of your father not coming home? In your case, did you ever, is the family, when he leaves in the morning, is there a fear that something will happen and he wouldn't come home?
Yeah, it's one of those jobs where it's just like you never know. You would never think about it they don't think about it. They go and they do their jobs no matter what. But yeah, for the families, they go to work and you don't know. It could be the day. You know, on a normal day, you may not see anything. You may get to stay at the station, but you could go to the work one day where that's the call that ends it all. And so, yeah, that was always on our mind.
When you were a little boy, did you want to be a firefighter?
Oh, absolutely. That's the coolest job in the world. You're saving lives. You're a hero.
I guess that's why they do so many television shows about firefighters.
It's true. Well, you know, and one of the firefighter EMTs that you interviewed said he didn't think of himself as a firefighter EMT. He thought of himself as a public servant and didn't think about what he could go into as far as what would be dangerous, but he knew always in the back of his mind. How was it interviewing everybody? And these obviously must have been people you knew through your father.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was really exciting about it. You know, if I walked into a fire station right now, sat around the table and tried to get them to open up, they never would. You know, at the same time, they're never going on a call expecting I'm going to lose my life and have any fear. You know, they really can't have that fear. They are going in there to save somebody's life. And if they have any amount of doubt on their mind about their performance, they're not doing their job. And that could cost somebody their life. So it was really incredible to get to sit down with them and actually listen to them open up and talk about these experiences. That was one of my angles with it. I wanted to see how different ages, experience levels affected them and how they thought about it. So that's why I got to interview someone I volunteered with who was 22 years old. I got to interview a retired firefighter who had over 35 years of experience, a wife and husband who worked together. And that was an exciting thing to see them open up and have these different perspectives, but that all were pretty similar in terms of it is a very real thing. I interviewed Dr. Villa, who was the medical examiner there in Palm Beach County Fire Rescue, and it was cool to hear that actual legislation's going through to help try and support them. And it really is crazy in the grand scheme of things and the scale of how things move. All of this has happened in the last 10 years, you know. Before that, this wouldn't even be a topic that we'd be talking about, discussing. So it's a cool time, and it was an eye-opening piece for me.
What was the influence of like 9/11 on firefighters? I'm from New York, and it really changed the way families of firefighters think about the profession, and certainly there must have been ripple effects even down here in this area. Did it change the mindset of the firefighters or the EMTs?
I know the night it happened, the day it happened, even down here in Palm Beach County, people were making food and bringing it to the stations and giving it to everyone. I know firefighters all over the country ended up in New York assisting and helping. I don't want to speak for them and how it shaped how they think, but I think overall, you know, us as a country too, that changed so much in how we deal with things on that level. And, you know, now they have all kinds of contingency plans in place for events of that scale, which I think before was never even thought about.
So now your film is going to be in our Vero Vision section where we highlight local filmmakers. We want them to have an opportunity to show their films, and I'm really excited that we're showing it there. But what are you doing now?
Now I'm working at Ironside. I'm with a marketing agency.
And what do you do for them?
I'm a filmmaker. I'm a cinematographer and colorist primarily, and we do all kinds of content for the local market here.
Yeah, well, just to tell people in advance, you also shot me.
I did.
A video for the film festival that we did together, and I think that's when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you're really talented, and I'm so glad you brought the film to us. And normally we would say, can you make your way to the festival? But I have a feeling that's not an issue here.
I think we can expect him there. He's
I
going
have
to
a feeling I'll be on the clock there.
All right, Carsen, thanks so much. I love having you here. It's so nice to have a local filmmaker here.
Thank
to
you.
be able to sit in the studio. So thanks again, and we'll see you real soon because we're all here.
It's true. Thank you, Carsen.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was an honor to be here.
All right, before we go to break, I want to thank New Vision Eye Center for sponsoring our show and sponsoring Carsen and all the guests we have here. Because, as you know, I always said, I've been saying it for 8 years, I wouldn't trust my eyes to anyone else. We'll see you in a bit.
Dr. Stephen Tate offers the safest and most efficient technique for customized cataract surgery. Patients are personally counseled on the best approach for their needs and lifestyle. From multifocal lenses that allow for distance and reading vision to toric lenses that correct astigmatism, let New Vision Eye Center guide you safely through your options. For world-class eye care on the Treasure Coast, visit newvisioneyecenter.com.
Water service? Don't let your money go down the drain. Make sure to get a quote from Affordable Water. Many times, Affordable Water's original price is less than the competitor's discount price. Yes, Affordable Water really is affordable. Make sure to get a quote today, because you haven't gotten a quote until it's affordable. Affordable Water.
Call 589-7677. Or you reach 20, call the Pure Water Pros. Affordable Water.
Today at lunch, enjoy a Southern home-cooked meal paired with the best sweet tea in town at Marsh Landing Restaurant. You'll love our daily lunch specials like chicken and dumplings every Thursday, and you've got to try the handcrafted sandwiches. Experience old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing in Fellsmere.
Are you a therapist or a nurse seeking the multi-state compact license? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
Love the earth. Plant a tree for Earth Day. Come to C.W. Willis Family Farms for the biggest tree sale of the year. Bring the family, enjoy food, live music, kids activities, and plant promotions. April 22nd through 24th at C.W. Willis Family Farms on Oslo Road in Vero.
Hey, welcome back. I'm David Yakir here with Susan Keller-Horn, and you're listening to Yak About Today. So, Susan, we've got a great new movie.
Yes.
Great new director.
We do. But let's talk about the film festival for just one little second.
Okay.
we need you guys to go out and check out our website, vbfilmfest.org. Look up the passes. We also have on the site, and we're adding them, so please be keep checking back. We're putting up the trailers from the films or still pictures from the films, so you can have an opportunity to see what films we are going to be showing. And I'm telling you, it was so hard to pick this year because we had amazing, amazing films submitted. And this next one is with Adam Davis. He's here with us on live stream, and it is called Eevy, Ivy Over, and it's a little creepy, and I love it. So please, hi, Adam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Adam, tell me a little bit about the story. It's Eevy, Ivy Over, it comes from a childhood rhyme. I actually had to look it up because I was like, that's so familiar to me, but I couldn't remember what it was. And I remember jumping rope to it. So tell me about the story and how the title came about.
Oh, that's so funny. I looked it up. I knew a number of rhymes, but I didn't know a fitting one, and I found that one. And so I wasn't sure if I would come across anybody who actually knew that. So that's wonderful to hear. So the story is about... Oh, yeah, good. We had Cinderella dressed in yellow, and that kind of stuff. You may have come across that one as well. So this story is about bedtime, which for anyone with children, that may resonate. It's always difficult, or often difficult, to get everybody in bed. So this takes place at a moment where little girl Tatum is defiantly sent to bed after a somewhat difficult evening. Her mother is well-intentioned but overworked. There's a baby and other kids and a dog and everything going on. And she hears a voice in the closet that sounds very familiar. And that's where the creepy part comes in. Over time, she speaks to the voice, and this is where we hear our little rhyme, and she finds a little friend through the closet. But a little bit later on, we find that the voice is a more ominous presence, and and becomes somewhat monstrous.
You know, Adam, Susan and I were talking earlier. There was one part, and maybe you can take us through this, where I think Susan was saying that the girl goes into the closet with one personality and seems to come out with another. I'm not sure. Were we reading that right?
Yeah, so at one point she hears the voice, but she doesn't see anyone. When she opens the door, there's nobody there. And then mother comes down the hall after she's supposed to be in bed. And so she just sort of instinctively jumps into the closet and closes the door and is kind of just peeking out underneath. Mother comes in and she starts talking and says, I don't know what else to do, Tatum. I'm just, she's exasperated and has just at the end of her rope here. And then we hear this voice on the outside of the closet now that says, I'm sorry, mother. And and so we, of course, Tatum inside the closet, and we stay with her, is very surprised to hear this voice. And yes, it is a very different personality for that moment, but it's also one that seems, yes, it's also one whose intentions, we are not quite sure about.
Yes,
So-
it could be evil.
I was concerned. But one other thing that I kind of noticed was the dollhouse. And if you looked inside that dollhouse, a lot of the placement of the people that were supposed to be in that dollhouse were kind of strange. Was there any symbolism that you were trying to get across with that?
So yeah, I stole that dollhouse. That's my wife's from when she was a child. It's currently in my daughter's room, and this story is very much based around my daughter, who is darling and also tempestuous. She drives her brothers crazy, and she was definitely an inspiration here. In fact, most of the stuff in that room belongs to her, and so the dollhouse, one of our crew members kind of set it up, and we had a discussion about it. But there are certainly elements there that we were going for. But I think the dollhouse in general is one of the things that struck me. Of course, we've seen it in movies here and there, but it's the fact that it's a life in miniature that's kind of controllable, that a child plays, kind of adult. And part of this movie, I think one of the themes that really informed it was the way that middle class, family life is always, at risk of descending into chaos and occasionally does. It's very hard to keep up all of this, what it should be, when you're running around to everything. Everybody's tired and worn out and sometimes frustrated, and there's lessons and school and picking everybody up and getting everybody to bed, and they want to do this and there's homework and so forth, and all of that takes its toll after a while. And so the dollhouse is sort of a microcosm of, we wish that we could maybe control it a little bit more, but we can't always.
Just a quick question. Was there any significance in how whenever she went up to the dollhouse, she placed the dolls in different positions? Was that a reflection of the family? Was there any intention there?
I wish there was a little bit more. It's something that I wanted to spend some time on because I love how powerful it can be. To be honest, we were shooting very quickly, and we kind of things kind of ended up where they were. There is one lone figure though up in the attic, which you may have noticed. So she places a couple on the second level though, but there's a single figure up in the attic, and that was that sort of loneliness, the child alone in their room, that we really wanted to go for, because there was, in the movie, she sort of makes an imaginary friend and also creates a monster. And both of those are aspects of childhood. A child's own imagination can be a place of, fun and delight, but it's also where a lot of monstrosity resides. And that was something that we really wanted to explore in the movie.
Well, now, I also know that you are a professor. You teach film. Can you tell us a little bit about that and a little bit about your students and how your own filmmaking relates to teaching them?
Yeah. Absolutely. So this film, the story of it came one night when I was actually grading papers. I needed a creative outlet, I guess, and I banged out a little short story. But later on, we had a props and sets class, and so we were building a set. Everything that you see in there was built by students, and we needed a movie to kind of direct our efforts toward. And so I thought, well, I've got this little story, and I whipped it out into a script. And so we built the room around that. So it was also influenced. It's very pink in there, and all of the set design. The paint, many of the toys and stuff are pink. It took an IKEA trip or two, and whatever I could dig up, out of my daughter's room, as I mentioned. But we were also influenced by a story called The Yellow Wallpaper, which is a Victorian story about a woman who is isolated to her room and this yellow wallpaper, and she kind of slowly goes crazy. And as she goes crazier from being in there, then that becomes more of a symptom of her, of her being mentally troubled. And so it's this, strange destructive cycle imposed from without. And so this is one that's comes a little bit more from within, or from, the difficulties of the family dynamic.
I also noticed that you're interested in music. And you do digital
Oh.
music. So I looked you up.
Wow, yeah, you know a lot, geez. So this was, yeah, we are, one of the things that I've done is we're working on, getting a little bit more scoring into our films. And I recently created, it hasn't gone live yet, just because of the way things take a long time in academia, but a digital music program that'll include a film scoring component. And so I was in a rock and roll band, in college, and, I've done singing and some other things. But I'd never done scoring before, and I wanted to try out the tools. And so this was actually my first score, and it was a lot of fun. The tools are really powerful, and it was fun to bring, everything that I'd done with music in the past into this digital format, and to create something that was really responsive to the film. So yes, this is something that's a little bit new for us. And I've since, we had another film that was already in the works, and that one's been scored as well. And so, it's off to the races.
That's awesome. Now, how about your actors? You had the mom, you had the daughter, and how did you find them?
We found them through a friend. Actually, one of our alumni had worked with both of them previously, and so we brought them in. We auditioned a couple people, but they turned out to be a lot of fun. And the little girl, Cece King, she's done some, I think, a little bit of Lifetime stuff and some other things, and she was just great on set. I know it can be hard when you're a kid, to just grind out long hours of filming, but she just loves to be there. It's where she just feels at home. In fact, she was almost too comfortable. We'd have to try to get her back into that kind of scary, sort of haunted state. But yeah, had a lot of fun.
Well, we look forward to sharing Ivy over with our audience. It will be in our dramatic shorts category. You're not going to want to miss it. It's super creepy and super fun.
Adam, you coming to the festival?
We're going to try. We're in Nevada, so it's a cross-country trip, and I got 3 kids to tote around. We're going to see what we can do.
All right. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So these interviews have been great. They're
They've been
just
fun.
great. One of the things we're going to do, I think, in the future, and I think our producer, Jesse, can tell me if it's true, we can actually play some of the trailers when we interview the guests. And I think we have that capability now. Is that right? Jesse, it's over there.
Jesse's hiding in the corner.
So that's what we'll do in our next set of interviews. And by the way, it is the Vero Beach Film Festival, and it's June 9th through 12th, and we have tickets on sale now. If you'll go to vbfilmfest.org, you can choose any array of tickets. You can get them as little as $55, and you'll get to see any 4 movies you want, going all the way up to appreciating all the dinners, all the films, the whole works, which will cost you about $5.95, and even that's well worth it. But there are tickets in between that, and dinners and parties and all that, so we hope you make it.
And even though we changed our name from Vero Beach Wine and Film Festival to Vero Beach Film Festival, we are still going to have wine. There'll be lots of wine.
Lots of wine.
And lots of other fun, delicious things to try. So we hope you join us.
And we'll see you soon. And thanks for joining us on Facebook. And if you are watching on Facebook, tell all your friends, please, to watch us, and we'll give you a schedule at some point when we're going to do this. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.